Feel the pain, feel the joy, and sidestep the little bits of history repeating.
Okay, continuing, we're still in silly stuff. Third, several Christians suggested that in Mark 13:30, we don't encounter Jesus speaking precisely, speaking imprecisely. As one Christian put it, it was Jesus speaking freely among friends, not English class. Sean M. PWH, one of the video respondents, put it this way: the problem really stems from the way Jesus uses language. He'll use language just the way we do, and that is, we use exaggeration. We use hyperbole. With all due respect to the people who wrote and said these and similar things, I must say they strike me as the silliest of the silly responses. In Mark 13, we encounter the purported Savior of humankind speaking with his disciples about one of the most, if not the most, ominous matter imaginable, namely, the end of the world and his return to gather and save his people. He's telling them that they're going to face persecution. Some of them will even be executed. Horrible things are on the horizon. And he sternly notes, quote, "Behold, I have told you everything in advance." But some Christians would have us believe that in this discourse, Jesus is speaking imprecisely. It's not English class after all, as if English class would be a more significant occasion than telling people about the imminent series of events leading to the end of the world. One wonders why Christians who make these silly claims would take seriously anything Jesus said if this, the mini-apocalypse in Mark 13, can be chalked up to mere exaggeration and hyperbole. The author of Mark has Jesus telling his disciples, "Be on alert." Some believers here respond, Jesus is just talking. That's all. Okay, moving on to number 2, the preterist perspective. Preterism is a Christian eschatological view that holds that many, if not all of the events that passages such as Mark 13 have Jesus predicting have already taken place. The prophecies were fulfilled within the generation of Jesus' contemporaries. Specifically, preterists see the fulfillment of passages such as Mark 13 in the Roman destruction of the Jewish temple and Jerusalem in 70 CE. There are different varieties of preterists who disagree with and among one another about a variety of things, but that's beyond the scope of this video. What is relevant is that many believers' responses suggested that preterism solves the problem presented by Mark 13 and its parallel passages. Preterism's plus is that it recognizes the plain meaning of Mark 13:30. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. Preterists don't waste time pretending Jesus' words meant something other than what they obviously mean. That is, that Jesus was predicting all of the things he had described would take place before the generation of his contemporaries died off. So, a big thumbs up for preterism on this account. However, preterists go wrong with respect to Jesus' return as it's described in Mark 13 and its parallels in Matthew and Luke. In short, they spiritualize the prophecy of Jesus' return. Mark 13:26 says that those around at the time of Jesus' return will, quote, see the Son of Man coming in clouds with great power and glory. The Greek word translated see is optonomai, I think I pronounced that correctly, which means to look at, to behold. The parallel in Matthew 24 describes it almost identically, adding, For just as the lightning comes from the east and flashes even to the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. The parallel passage in Luke 21 describes it similarly. So, what's going on here? Why do preterists spiritualize this prophecy? Well, if Jesus meant exactly what Mark and the others have him predicting about his return, the prophecy failed, and Jesus doesn't pass the Deuteronomy 18:22 test. Preterists use the rationalization of spiritualization of the prophecy to avoid this. As one believer put it, quote, "If the various flavors of preterism are right, then so is Jesus." Therefore, according to preterists, Jesus returned in 70 CE in, as one believer put it, quote, "judgment upon apostate Jerusalem." Specifically, he came back, as another believer put it, quote, "in the Roman army that destroyed the temple and Jerusalem in order to bring the sacrificial system to an end." In this construction, the clouds become symbolic of divine judgment. Ironically, preterists end up sounding like the people Matthew has Jesus warning the disciples against. "If therefore they say to you, 'Behold, he is in the wilderness,' do not go forth. Or, 'Behold, he is in the inner rooms,' do not believe them." You can add, "Behold, he is in the Roman army." Why? Because, as quoted earlier, just as the lightning comes from the east and flashes even to the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. So, preterists use the rationalization of spiritualization of the prophecy in order to avoid the obvious. That is, Jesus was wrong. His prophecy failed. Moving on to number 3, the futurist perspective. While preterism is guilty of rationalizing Mark 13:30's failed prophecy by spiritualizing it, the preterist eschatological viewpoint is benign. By contrast, the futurist's eschatology is comprised of crazy and incendiary ideas. It's no exaggeration to say that they are probably among the most potentially dangerous, civilization-threatening notions imaginable. The overwhelming majority of TV shows about Bible prophecy emerge from the futurist perspective, and books espousing futurist eschatology can fill many bookshelves. Just the Left Behind series alone, with approximately 42 million books sold, has proven what big business this stuff can be. The series has inspired several movies. If you're wondering what Kirk Cameron does when he's not busy on TV demonstrating the woefully poor state of science education in the United States, he's off appearing in one of the Left Behind films. There's also a Left Behind website, which offers, among other things, Left Behind greeting cards and a Left Behind prophecy club. One can only imagine what a Left Behind prophecy club meetup must be like. Oh, sometimes I crack myself up. It's just for me. Anyway, jokes aside, a significant number of believers who responded to my Jesus Was Wrong video espoused some version of the futurist perspective. As with preterists, futurists have varying views about a number of things, and there are disagreements between and among them. Those are beyond the scope of this video. I'm going to limit myself to dealing with the futurist claims that were posted in response to my Jesus Was Wrong video. That's where I'll pick up in the final part of this series, Jesus Was Wrong, Part 5. See you there.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.